Nestled along Norway's rugged west coast, Ålesund will enchant you with its Art Nouveau district, its spectacular scenery, lighthouses, and more. It's truly a beautiful city, so let's get started exploring. The sail into the harbor is quite beautiful, and the ship docks just a short 10-minute walk to the city center. There's also ample signage to get you into town, and since we had an afternoon and evening in port, we squeezed a lot of sights in one day. In the afternoon, we toured via the hop-on, hop-off bus. There are two bus choices, the hop-on, hop-off with a yellow ticket and city sightseeing with a red ticket. Holland America sells city sightseeing as its excursion option. Both buses were located just outside the cruise terminal exit. However, the cruise ship bus is located slightly closer to the terminal. Make sure you find the correct bus if you booked it independently. Our first stop was the Sunnmore Open Air Museum. It's a collection of more than 50 historic buildings that explain what life was like in an old farming community. To give you an idea of what the Open Air Museum looks like, here's one of the buildings, the Sliderite Stova, which was the main farmhouse on a tenant farm. This cottage has a living room, kitchen, bedroom, and attic. The museum also tells you a bit about each building's story via signage, so you can tour the museum at your own pace. Sunnmore also has a boat hall that displays the boating history from the Viking Age until motorboats took over. An 8-string boat was used for cod fishing, and there are several magnificent Viking-era boats. All in all, we spent about 90 minutes at the museum. From Sunnmore, we caught the next hop-on, hop-off bus and rode it to the next stop at the top of Mount Aksla. Aksla has some amazing postcard views of Ålesund and its harbor. You can see the heart of the Art Nouveau district from the brightly colored buildings below. There's also a cafe at the top if you want to get a bite to eat. A wonderful panoramic view of Ålesund. You can see how close the cruise ship docks to the city, the Art Nouveau district, as well as how the weather changes so dramatically from cloudy to sunshine as you pan the horizon. What magnificent views of the harbor. As we hike down the mountain, there's a wonderful lookout point about midway down. We had a gorgeous but chilly day, so dress in layers. Here's a better view of the zigzag path to the top of Mount Aksla. To get to the top, there are 418 steps you need to climb, which is much easier said than done. If you're adventurous, know that there are frequent rest stops along the way where you can take a break and enjoy the view. The Aksla Viewpoint is a must-see, whether you walk to the top or get dropped off and walk down to the city. The views are simply fantastic. There's also one other option to get there. Take the Blue City train that tours the city and has a quick 15-minute stop for photo. Our next stop on the hop-on, hop-off bus tour was the Art Nouveau district. This is the area of the city that was rebuilt after a tragic fire in 1904. The result is a collection of colorful stone and brick buildings with a myriad of turrets and spires. The district's beautiful architecture also has medieval ornamentation, such as the elaborate flower and crown you see on the left, as well as the other buildings that have intertwined animal or human faces and dragons. Our final stop was the Ålesund Kirk, the old church, which was completed in 1909 and is still active today. It was built in the Norman style and is renowned for its frescoes and stained glass windows. Well worth a peek inside. From here, we rode the bus for the remainder of the circuit back to the cruise terminal to get ready for our second adventure of the day. After our city tour, we visited the adjacent islands of Giske and Chapel. We learned that there are many underwater tunnels built to connect the islands to the mainland. In fact, we drove through one of the longest submarine tunnels to get to Giske, which is known as the birthplace of the famous Viking king Rollo, who conquered Normandy in AD 911. Giske was the seat of power in the Viking Age, and so we visited the Giske Chapel, a very simple but starkly beautiful Roman marble church that dates from 1135. The church was built as a private place of worship for the Giske family and is surrounded by old headstones. Some interesting features of the church include it was whitewashed with plaster to protect the marble against the elements. When the whitewash is removed, you can see the actual marble stones. At the back of the church, there's a kissing cross. If you kiss the cross, you'll have good luck. And there's beautiful stained glass windows on each side of the church. We also passed by a small Viking burial ground. We tunneled our way to Godey Island and visited the charming little fishing village of Alnes, with its famous lighthouse on the shores of the Norwegian Sea. To reach the top of the lighthouse and get some spectacular views of the city, you'll need to climb the 119 very narrow and steep steps. From the top of the lighthouse, you see the town of Alnes, the island of Giske, and the Norwegian Sea. I was surprised at how windy it was at the top. We had one last stop in downtown Alesund for a visit to the World War II Memorial, as well as catch an amazing sunset. Our evening sail away was picture perfect for Alesund's skyline. We hope you found these sites helpful for your visit. Alesund was one of our favorite parts of Norway. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing to the channel, as I really do appreciate it. Thanks for watching.